Good afternoon. Welcome to Tribune News on Q, your go-to afternoon news source, only here at Daily Tribune. You're now live at Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Tribune Now on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok. For today's headlines, Department of the Interior and Local Government Secretary John Vic Remulla said justice will eventually catch up with former Representative Zaldico, regardless of his location, through civil asset forfeiture. The Independent Commission for Infrastructure on Friday called for a thorough investigation into the death of former Department of Public Works and Highways Undersecretary Catalina Cabral. At least two members of the Communist New People's Army were killed in a clash with troops from the 20th Infantry Battalion in the hinterlands of Barangay Bulao, Las Navas, Northern Samar this morning. The state-run Philippine Health Insurance Corporation received a significant budget boost for 2026 after members of the Bicameral Conference Committee approved an additional of 16.5 billion peso for its funding. The Department of Budget and Management announced the grant of the fiscal year 2025 Productivity Enhancement Incentive for qualified government employees with a uniform rate of 5,000 peso. Motorists may get an early holiday break at the pumps as fuel prices are poised for a rollback next week amid easing global supply pressures. Gilas Pilipinas men's and women's teams will both face host Thailand for the gold in the final day of the 33rd Southeast Asian Games basketball competition. The events before and after the 2009 Maguindanao Massacre will make its world premiere at the 55th International Film Festival Rotterdam in the Netherlands next year. Today is the 19th of December, Friday, and I'm Louisse Kalingag, bringing you today's top stories. Let's get started. Department of the Interior and Local Government Secretary John Vic Remulla said justice will eventually catch up with former Representative Zaldico, regardless of his location, through civil asset forfeiture. Remulla said the government has already established a web of assets linked to Co, noting that the Office of the Ombudsman identified these connections through the Independent Commission for Infrastructure. Remulla said motions seeking asset forfeiture are currently being prepared. The Independent Commission for Infrastructure on Friday called for a thorough investigation into the death of former Department of Public Works and Highways Undersecretary Catalina Cabral. ICI Executive Director Attorney Brian Hosaka said the probe aims to ensure that there was no foul play in Cabral's death. He added that if foul play is confirmed, those responsible could be tied to questionable infrastructure projects. The Commission has formally requested authorities to secure and preserve all of Cabral's documents, gadgets, and computers for possible digital forensic examination. Hosaka also extended condolences to her family and friends. At least two members of the Communist New People's Army were killed in a clash with troops from the 20th Infantry Battalion in the hinterlands of Barangay Bulao, Las Navas, Northern Samar this morning. Based on an initial report from the 20th Infantry Battalion, the clash occurred while troops were conducting an operation in response to reports from residents about the presence of armed men threatening local farmers and extorting supplies in the barangay. The Philippine Army said it is still verifying the identities of the two NPA casualties, who are believed to be members of the Sub-Regional Committee Arctic under the Eastern Visayas Regional Party Committee. The state-run Philippine Health Insurance Corporation received a significant boost in its budget for 2026 after members of the Bicameral Conference Committee approved an additional 16.5 billion peso for its funding. At the committee meeting, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian confirmed the budget adjustment made for PhilHealth. The increase is expected to cover the deficiency in PhilHealth's share of state revenues coming from sin taxes, or the excise on alcohol and tobacco. The panel initially approved a budget of 103.2 billion peso for PhilHealth. With the increase, the amount now stands at 129.7 billion peso. The Department of Budget and Management announced the grant of the fiscal year 2025 Productivity Enhancement Incentive for qualified government employees with a uniform rate of 5,000 peso. The amount shall be released not earlier than December 15 in accordance with Budget Circular number 2017 signed by DBM Acting Secretary Rolando Toledo. The circular adjusts to all heads of departments, bureaus, and agencies of the national government, including state universities and colleges, government owned or controlled corporations, local water districts, local government units, and all other concerned entities, also sets forth the conditions, policies, and guidelines for the grant of the PEI. For our business news, motorists may get an early holiday break at the pumps as fuel prices are poised for a rollback next week amid easing global supply pressures. Based on this week's mean of Platts, Singapore, and foreign exchange averages of the first four trading days, Bella said diesel prices could go down by 1 peso to 1.20 per liter, while gasoline may drop by 60 to 80 centavos per liter in the week of December 22, 2025. And for our sports news, Gilas Pilipinas men's and women's teams will both face host Thailand for the gold in the final day of the 33rd Southeast Asian Games basketball competitions here. Thailand routed Malaysia 86-55 in Thursday's nightcap to set up a titanic clash with Gilas in the men's division. Earlier, Thailand also downed Malaysia 59-51 on the women's side. Gilas is aiming to take both divisions after encountering turbulent preparations before they arrived in this Thai capital. And for our entertainment news, an animated docudrama about the events before and after the 2009 Maguindanao Massacre will make its world premiere at the 55th International Film Festival Rotterdam in the Netherlands next year. 58th, directed and co-written by Carl Joseph Papa, stars the late Ricky Davao in a film that marks his last appearance on the big screen after his death last May. Davao portrays the titular 58th victim of the massacre, photojournalist Reynaldo Bebot Momay, whose body was never found. And for our PSEI update, Philippine stocks closed lower overall, with the benchmark PSEI slipping 0.27% to 6,014.91, and the broader all shares index down to 0.33% to 3,435.72, reflecting generally cautious market sentiment. Most sectoral indices ended in the red. Financials fell 0.29%, industrials declined at 0.16%, property was nearly flat with a 0.2 dip, while mining and oil edged down to 0.5. The services sector posted the steepest loss of the day, sliding with 0.98%. Holding firms was the lone bright spot, gaining 0.34%, which helped limit the broader market's decline. Despite this uptick, the predominance of losses across sectors kept overall market performance negative. And for this afternoon's trivia, on December 19, 1839, Jose Maria Basa, a successful merchant who donated money for the smuggling of Dr. Jose Rizal's novels to the Philippines, was born in Binondo, Manila, to Matias Basa and Joaquina San Agustin. Basa, a reformist group member who was accused of participating in the 1872
I wish it was Christmas, Christmas every day. We could just let it snow forever and live on holiday.
And for our viral story, a student was assigned by the class to chop the lechon that the students would feast on during their Christmas party inside the classroom. He was in full gear, wearing an apron and a hairnet for sanitary purposes. Netizens jokingly label him as husband material. Katribo, with only 6 days left until Christmas, each passing day gently reminds us of the love and gratitude this season brings. That's all for now. Join us again at 4:30 p.m. still here at Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Tribune on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok. Once again, I'm Louise Kalingag, and this has been Tribune News on Q.